And President Lincoln is like, Clara Barton, you did such a good job at the Battle of Antietam. You need to be the head of the offices. The office. Lincoln is drunk.
Hello, I'm Rich Fulcher, and today I'm going to introduce Abraham Lincoln, the lawyer. You know this device called the Reaper? In the 19th century, people were like, and then McCormick invented an automatic Reaper. People were like, this is crazy. I can't believe this. John Manny said, I invented the automatic Reaper, and then that meant there was a big lawsuit. I invented the Reaper, you mother. I invented the Reaper, you mother. And Manny got some Philadelphia lawyers called Harding and Stanton and Watson and some other people. These guys are like, we've gotta do this with the local guy. But they didn't know anybody, and so they hired this guy. Lincoln was this lawyer, man. He was like a lawyer. Lincoln answered the door. Stanton went, he's like some sort of nerd. Lincoln's like a nerd. And I mean, it's not even like a funny sitcom or anything. And then this guy, Watson, looks at him and says, oh, he doesn't even have like a Watson, or he doesn't have a Watson. He doesn't have a vest. Whoa, what's that all about? What are you doing? Lincoln was like viewed as persona non grata. The case changed to Cincinnati. Stanton and Harding go, we don't need Lincoln anymore. But Lincoln didn't even know about any of this, but he would just keep researching and researching. Oh yeah, but I've been just going along with my own fun. And he would write. He would be like, am I involved in this case or what? Finally, he found out that the case had been moved to Cincinnati, and he was like, I've got to go to Cincinnati. So he went. Lincoln went up to the hotel where all the lawyers were, and Stanton saw Lincoln coming up. Stanton went to Harding. Oh my God, this guy is a lanky, gawky, awkward, ape-legged, ape-armed man. This guy's weird. This guy's like an ape. He's got ape arms. He's got like ape awkward arms. This guy is like an ape awkward guy. This guy is an ape Oxword. He's like an ape man. This guy is like an ape awkward man. Lincoln stayed for the whole case. They just go on without even acknowledging Lincoln. The legal arguments that were made and the structure. Oh my God, this is the way to do it. Like, I was just like a myriad of wonderment. Lincoln! Manny won. And everything was great. So Lincoln goes back to Chicago. Like, I know what I need to do now. I'm gonna study my ass off and get things going. I'm gonna get my in gear. I'm gonna be Mr. House. And 5 years later, he becomes the president. Here's the thing, because Stanton was part of the firm that said, we're like not into you. Lincoln said, I'm gonna get Edwin Stanton to become Secretary of War. How cool is that? When Lincoln dies, he says, now he belongs to the ages. And Lincoln goes, that's great.
What's the biggest lesson to learn in this story?
My balls are big.
Hello. Today we are going to talk about the Baltimore plot. November 1860, Abraham Lincoln is elected as the 16th President of the United States of America. He was like, these states in the South, they don't want me to be president and they want to secede and stuff. So I'm gonna take a whistle-stop tour to DC and I'm gonna wave at people. Meanwhile, Alan Pinkerton was hired to be Lincoln's private security force. Pinkerton runs the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. Pinkerton starts finding out, oh, there's all these threats against Abraham Lincoln. Pinkerton puts together his, dream team. He's got Harry Davies, this brilliant guy who speaks several languages, and Kate Warren, the first female detective in the history of the United States. Pinkerton's like, everybody wants to kill Lincoln. So they go undercover in Baltimore in the Barnum Hotel, pretending to be Southern, like, how do you do, sir? And getting intel, like, what is your political affiliation, if I may ask? I'm not trying to press you, but I am a lady of the South, and I need to know that I'm fraternizing with people I can trust. All right, I'm actually leaning.
You okay?
I started to lean.
It's okay.
No, it's all right. It's just, where do So, they discovered this guy, Cipriano Ferrandini. He's a beady-eyed Corsican barber who wanted to kill Lincoln. Ferrandini. He gathers together all of these Southern rebels into this hideout. Davies gets in on the Ferrandini meeting. And Ferrandini, he's holding up a scimitar, and he says, "Moth!" And he was like, in this hat, or bowl, or bucket, or whatever, there is a card, I'm gonna burp, excuse me, with a red dot on it. And whoever gets the red dot, you're gonna kill Lincoln. Davies is like, oh, me. Now we really have a problem, to himself, quietly, because he's undercover. Lincoln lands in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Pinkerton goes to him and says, we gotta get you the out of here a day before they're gonna kill you. So he took off his little Pop-Tart hat, or whatever that was. What was it called? A Popeye. It was called his hat, it was a stovepipe. Lincoln says, sorry, stovepipe, I gotta be incognito. I'll see you soon. They sneak him out to the train. People can see him, but they don't know it's him because he's wearing a beanie and a shawl. Kate Warren is like, I need to get my invalid brother into the train. They get on the train. Lincoln is on a train into DC to become the president. So Pinkerton had to get Lincoln through Baltimore early to get to DC without being killed because there are assassins in Baltimore waiting for Lincoln to show up at like noon. They get to President Station, Baltimore, Maryland, at at 3:30 in the morning. And the conductor's like, we have to stop because there's a sound ordinance. Pinkerton's like, what the is a sound ordinance? What the am I gonna do? Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get some horses. So they hook up this train car to horses and drag the train car on the tracks through Baltimore. They get to Camden Street Station where they're supposed to pick up the Washington-bound train. No train. Train's late. So they sat there. It's basically assassins everywhere. And they could hear people saying, this Lincoln is a piece of shit. The South will rise. Pinkerton's like, if these guys find out that we're in here with Lincoln, we're dead. We're all of us dead. You hold on to your panties. No, you're not. All right. Okay. The Washington-bound train finally shows up, and at 6 a.m., February 23rd, Abraham Lincoln arrives in Washington, D.C., and they successfully averted the assassination attempt. And the Pinkerton National Detective Agency has existed for 163 years since that time. Moth! Look!
Oh.
Whoa! Son of a... Oh, no! Moth!
Hello, I'm Tess Lynch, and today we're going to talk about the Union Balloon Corps. So, it's a week into the Civil War. Thaddeus Lowe is a balloonist. He's airborne in Hoboken, New Jersey. And he's like, yes, like, ah. And everything seems great until, oh, boom, winds hit. And it's like, oh, the f***ing winds, you know? But like the winds, they don't care. The winds don't care. They're like, we're gonna have you land where the f*** we want you to land. And all of a sudden, he finds himself blown into South Carolina, like right in the middle of Confederate territory. Are you serious? So he was like, boom, blown into the hands of the Confederate mob. So they freak. And they're like, whoa, are you a Yankee spy? What's your deal? And he's just like, what the f do I do? So he has all these papers with him that basically are like, Thaddeus Lowe, important balloon person. And they're like, you know what? You seem like a cool dude. You can go. And he leaves. Okay, 1 second. This is the funnest job ever. Okay, so basically, he's just like, I don't think this is working out for me. The winds keep taking me into like the worst neighborhoods. Like, I'm done with this. But then he gets a call, but not a call because it's back in the day. So he gets a message and it says, hey, you, got my eye on you. Why don't you come on down to Washington? And he's like, who are you? Okay, I'll go, whatever, like trip to Washington sounds good. So he goes down to Washington to this like fancy room. All of a sudden, who walks in? It's President Lincoln. And Lowe's like, like, oh, holy shit, like President Lincoln, I didn't know you were like, you know, keeping tabs on my balloons and stuff. And Lincoln's like, I have been, and guess what? I have heard tell that your balloons are awesome. I want to send them into the sky so that you can spy on the Confederate troops. Let's see what you can do. You know, put your money where your mouth is. Thaddeus Lowe's like, yeah, I will do that. Lugs his balloon out, takes it out to the Washington Mall. Whoop, 500 feet above ground, boom. He's like, I am gonna send an aerial telegram down. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, Lincoln, I see you down there. It looks pretty cool. I see all the, you know, this and that and whatever. Boom. Lincoln is like, this is awesome. Like, I can only imagine what you can do for the Union when you're aerial, like, above the forces and you're just reporting back. Thaddeus Lowe, I'm gonna task you with making the first Union Balloon Corps So he like bands them all together. Lowe is like, check out what I've got. I've got like a billion balloons. I've got the Excelsior, the Constitution, the f***ing whatever, the this, the that, the Intrepid. They become a like balloon force. It's crazy. It's balloons. So Thaddeus takes Lowe and wait, no, what? That makes no sense. Are you okay, Jerry?
This is what happens with this show. You got a little unwobbly.
So he goes and he spies. The Confederates were trying their best. They were like, look, if you see us, we're gonna shoot cannons at you. They like, boom. He's like, what the f? Like, you're trying to shoot me with cannons. It's ridiculous, you guys. I'm way the f up here. And they're just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's reverse fart noise. It's not gonna happen.
What?
Well, fart noise is and reverse fart noise is yeah. 'Cause gravity. So that's basically the end of it, except
That's it.
no, it's not.
No.
So he comes home with all this intel, and he's just like, hey, Lincoln, I took a bunch of good notes up there. What do you think? And Lincoln is like, oh, balloons, what the f? They're the awesomest. This is the country's first Air Force. And he did. He did.
You should.
No, he did. He should, and he did, and he would. I'm seeing like so many of you. That's the worst.
Hello. Today we're going to talk about John Wilkes Booth and his brother Edwin Booth, the Booth brothers. Edwin Booth and John Wilkes Booth were born to a British actor named Junius Brutus Booth. Edwin is a favorite of their dad. Junius was so mean, he wouldn't even let John Wilkes into photographs with him. John Wilkes, stay back, man. Stay away, because you're not cool. Stop. You're kind of weird. You're weirding everybody out. Just back away. And he became sad, which establishes their rivalry. In 1858, John Wilkes and Edwin Booth were the most famous actors in the world. Performance-wise, everyone loved Edwin Booth. John Wilkes Booth, he was untrained. He would knock sets down. He was so violent. So when the Civil War broke out, John Wilkes Booth is like, Lincoln, what does it all mean? What is he talking about? Slavery. I don't even get it. That was the moment his political aspirations overtook artistic aspirations. However, Abraham Lincoln was requesting Edwin perform Shakespeare at government functions. Am I f***ing it up, guys? What's up, guys? Why is it f***ing it up? Okay. All right. At the Ford's Theater, when John Wilkes Booth was gesticulating, Abraham Lincoln's sister-in-law is like, I think he's pointing at you, Abraham. And Abraham Lincoln is like, it does seem like he's pointing at me. This is a little weird. He should, not be pointing at me during this particular line because it's a sort of aggressive. In November 1864, Edwin Booth is like, hey, I want to get to know you better. We've had some hard times. Let's do a play together again. For one performance only, Julius Caesar. John Wilkes' favorite role was Brutus, the man that executes a tyrant. And Edwin Booth is like, I get to play Brutus. For one performance only, in the production of Julius Caesar, Edwin said, Sic semper tyrannis, and everyone loves it. Critics said it was the most important show of all time. So John Wilkes Booth started getting involved with a secret Confederate society and had masterminded a plan to kidnap Lincoln. So John Wilkes Booth went to the Ford's Theater to pick up his mail, and John Ford's brother is like, hey, are you gonna come see our American cousin tonight? Our American cousin? You guys doing our American cousin tonight? Yeah. Abraham Lincoln's gonna be here. You should come. And John Wilkes Booth is like, oh, what? Abraham Lincoln's gonna be at the theater tonight? Oh my God. I'm gonna change my plan from kidnapping him to assassinating. So Abraham Lincoln's at the play Our American Cousin with his wife, Mary Todd. It's beautiful. Everything's going perfectly. Until John Wilkes Booth comes into their box. What? Where are we? John Wilkes Booth comes into their box and shoots Lincoln in the head. After he shot Lincoln, he jumped from the balcony, breaking his ankle. Oh my, I'm hurting.
Really?
And raising his knife in the air, he said, T pluribus unum. I don't remember what. I can't remember what it is. I wish I remembered. Wait. Sic terramus tempus. No more tyranny. You know, basically. That's John Wilkes Booth. And he's saying a line from Julius Caesar. And he's like, this is perfect. And everybody gets what I'm doing right now. After Abraham Lincoln's assassination, Edwin Booth decides to write a letter to America saying, I'm retiring from acting. As a penance for what my brother did, his horrifying act, I'm done. 5 months after Abraham Lincoln is buried, Edwin Booth is like, I'm back. Everybody relax. I'm doing Our American Cousin. I know that's the one that my brother assassinated Abraham Lincoln during. But that's what I'm gonna do. And everyone loves it. And he's back because he's kind of egotistical.